What's up, guys? I wanted to do a response video to SoPal. I started making a video and then the video stopped after like 5 minutes, and it really pissed me off because I was on a roll, and now I have to sort of backtrack in my brain and go back to the beginning of what I was thinking. And I hate that, especially when I think I got a really good video going and then the video stops and I don't notice it right away. And then I look, I'm like, oh shit, the video stopped. How long has it been stopped? Because I ran out of room on my phone. But anyway, conspiracy theories and the uneducated. Now, I think it's really important to distinguish the uneducated from the stupid. Two totally different people, right? Just like stupid and foolish are two totally different types of behavior. Stupid, just plain and simple, has to do with low IQ. Like, no matter what you try to do, you try to cram as much information into that brain, it just doesn't have the capacity to retain it. It doesn't have the capacity to retrieve it. It doesn't have the capacity to take this piece of the puzzle and this piece of the puzzle and figure out that they fit together. You know, your neurons aren't tightly packed together enough. They don't fire together. They don't communicate with each other quick enough. You're born with an IQ. You're not born with an education. You got to go out and get one of those. And I would say the higher your IQ is, the more likely you are to get educated because you realize the importance of education. And you tend to get, you tend to win math contests and whatever else, spelling bees and blah, blah, blah. And you tend to, get scholarships and stuff like that to enable you to go to college. But still, if you choose not to get educated, a big part of getting educated is not, learning that Columbus discovered America in 1492, learning all these history dates and learning terms, like scientific terms and all that stuff. It's really about learning to think critically, and getting in the habit of thinking critically, and developing thinking skills and writing skills and reading skills, because they basically, if you go to college, they force you to read, and if you don't read, you ain't going to do well, unless you're just a fucking genius and you can sit in class and just retain everything and then just spit it back out and ace the test. But anyway, I think that critical thinking is a huge part of deciding whether or not you believe a conspiracy theory. I mean, it really is sort of the linchpin to your ability to either believe the narrative or believe the conspiracy theory, or be smart enough to look at both those things, like the narrative and the conspiracy theory, and say they're both bullshit, or they're both partially true. I'm going to take what I like from this one, I'm going to take what I like from that one, and have a good reason for taking that information, right? The reason why I take this bit and this bit and this bit is because it makes logical sense. But the other stuff that the government said that happened doesn't make logical sense to me. And really, I think there's a very, very important element of not letting your pride get in the way, of making false assumptions that the government always lies about everything. Like, the government lies about every single thing. Like, if that's your premise, then yeah, if they say the world is round, then it's got to be square or flat or rectangular or triangular or whatever, because the government said it was round, so it can't be true. Like, that's a stupid way to look at it. What's in it for the government to lie to us and say that the world is flat when it's really, or say that the world is round when it's really flat? What's in it for them? What do they gain from that? Let's say they gain a tiny, tiny bit, but they spend billions and billions of dollars to gain that. Is it still worth it? Is it worth it for them? And there are plenty of things that it is in the government's best interest to lie to us about, mainly because the government wants to look good, right? Biden wants to tell us that the economy is doing great, even though it's not. Why? Because he wants to get reelected. And because he wants his legacy to be, I was a great president. That's pretty clear why he would lie about that. And it's also pretty clear that the economy is not doing well, seeing as my income has gone down over the past couple years, and all my expenses have gone up. And most people can say that. Or most people can say that their income has gone flat, or their income has got, like, they got like a 2% or a 3% raise per year, yet they've seen inflation 10, 20, 30% per year. So you can logically deduce that on your own, you don't need a fucking president or a senator or a congressman or anybody else, a governor, a mayor, to tell you that the economy is doing well. You know how the economy is doing because you can pay attention. But I mean, when we're talking about actual conspiracy theories, we're talking about, you know, false flag attacks. 9/11 was an inside job. Mainly government/military operations kind of stuff. That tends to be one of the most popular ones because there's a lot of money to be made in war, and but you know, again, I think there's a big problem for the uneducated man. And the uneducated man's biggest problem is that he feels inferior to those around him who have a higher education. So if you dropped out of high school, you are in a very small percentage of people in adulthood who didn't finish high school. So you're going to automatically feel very inferior. And what do you do when you feel inferior? You try to go over the top to prove to everybody how smart you are. Well, if you're uneducated and you didn't finish high school, you typically don't want to read books. Because that's why you're uneducated in the first place. That's why you dropped out of high school in the first place, because you don't like to read. So what do? Just like what Sopel said, you watch a stupid cartoon video on the JFK assassination on YouTube that explains exactly how it was done with 6 different gunmen or whatever, and you know, blah 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 blah. And then you come away from that video thinking that you're so much smarter than everybody else at the pizza place that you work at, you know. So then you walk in there one day, you're like, I know exactly what happened. You don't know what happened. I'm sure. Like it's pretty typical behavior for somebody who feels inferior to try to go over the top to prove everybody else wrong. I had a really, I still kind of have him as a friend, but I haven't talked to him in a while. He's not highly educated, and he just fucking goes off the deep end all the time. But I don't know if you guys remember this. I think it was back in 2015, if I recall. Some disgruntled news organization employee shot a cameraman and also shot a news lady live on camera. And so he walked up and he, like, as they were reporting live something, he shot the cameraman, and then you can see the camera just kind of fall over and hit the ground, and then he ran and shot the lady. Well, not only did that get captured on film, but he captured it on film with his cell phone. He was recording the whole thing with his cell phone. So he was holding his cell phone, recording it with his left hand, and he had the gun in his right hand. And so people, stupid people, sorry, or you can call them uneducated people, foolish people, whatever you want to call them, were comparing the footage. And they were saying, look at the video footage from his phone. The gun looks like it's a different color. His skin looks like it's a different color. Her dress looks like it's a different color than it looks on the other video. So this has to be a fake. And so I simply told my friend, I said, what do you know about videography and photography? He's like, well, nothing. Well, I know quite a bit about videography and photography because I had my own videography company. I used to shoot wedding videos all the time, and I used to do it with multiple cameras. And I can tell you that when you're messing with the settings, excuse me, you're messing with the settings on multiple cameras, you have to set the white balance. You have to set every camera to the exact same white balance, or all the footage is going to look different. If you have a lady in a white dress and you have the white balance perfect on all your cameras, her dress is going to look bleach white on every piece of footage from every camera. If the white balance is a little bit off, then her dress is going to look orangish on this camera and white on this camera. Or if it's the other way, her white dress is going to look a little bluish because your white balance is off. So I had to explain to him that a fucking cell phone isn't as sophisticated as the camera that they were using to shoot the news, and the white balance was off on his fucking cell phone, and that's why it looked different. And if you can look at the fucking footage from the guy's cell phone compared to the other footage, it happened in the exact same timing, the exact same sounds, the exact same everything but the colors were slightly off. So how can you look at that and say, these are two separate events, this is a cover-up conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, fine. If you think you know all that, then explain to me the motivation behind it. Explain to me who benefited from it. Explain to me what they were trying to achieve by staging that. Oh, they're trying to take guns away, man. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to take guns away. Okay, well, it's 2023. It's 8 years later. Did they accomplish their goal of taking guns away? No. In fact, every school shooting and mass shooting that's ever fucking happened, every fucking uneducated nut job out there thinks that it's a government operation and it's a conspiracy and that it's designed to take our guns away, yet our guns never get taken away. They just keep doing it over and over and over again. School after school, restaurant after restaurant, shopping mall after shopping mall, whatever. If it was designed to take our guns away, then why aren't our guns being taken away from us? Anyway, it's really just an inability to think logically. And I guess the last point that I want to make about it is everyone should get in the habit of suspending their belief. Looking at facts and saying, you know what? I don't know what to think about this. I'm not sure. It could be a conspiracy or it might not be. I need to research it more. Instead of making up your mind, that's a conspiracy. And then what do you do once you made up your mind? What do? You only seek out things that confirm what you already decided upon. If you don't make up your mind right away, then you read both sides and you try to be as neutral as possible, as open-minded as possible, because you're actually interested in seeking the truth. You're not interested in looking smarter than everybody else. You're not interested in confirming your bias that the government lies about every single fucking thing. You're actually interested in finding out the truth. And that's what you should be interested in. All right, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I love you all sexually.